train noises. Hi, and welcome to the train tracks that we found here in Nelson, BC. We've come here because I want to talk about an idea called just playing along the tracks. And this is an exercise to get you to sort of free up into the matrix between the moves. All the movement that you can do that doesn't necessarily have specific names, and is all about freeing you up in how you play so that you don't have to think about move 1, move 2, move 3. And you do it mostly with your imagination, although you can go and find yourself some train tracks. So what you do is you give yourself some rules. The rules are you have 2 tracks, and that your poi are going to be spinning along those tracks. So your wall planes are right along those tracks. Ideally the train tracks would be a little narrower, but we're going to use these train tracks. So the poi can both be on the same track, they can be one poi on each track, or they can both be on the other track. They can also both be behind you on one track. Those are the rules, and you're going to do it one mode at a time. So we're starting split time, same direction. And what you're going to do is you're going to tell yourself to try not to do any specific moves. Instead, you're just going to play put music on and move as creatively and expressively as you can along those tracks. You can turn and jump. The poi can chase each other, right? You can make big shapes, like you're painting in the air with your circles. But you're going to try not to come into doing a weave per se. You're going to try not to go into doing a windmill per se, right? You're going to try not to do a 5-beat, weave per se. Moves will kind of inevitably happen because as you're turning, you could give a name to this. But we're trying not to think in terms of moves. We're just thinking in terms of movement. So you take each, and make your poi kind of short because then they won't be hitting and tangling. It's really about exploring how your body moves, and play. See how much you can turn. Boom, and every time you stop, you're over the tracks. Right? So it's really also exercising your planes and control on your planes. And you're going to do it one mode at a time. Right? So you can also come into opposites. And if I'm on this track, they're down in the middle. If I'm on this track, they're up in the middle. And I start to explore and play, and same thing, I'm really just playing with how I'm moving, exploring space. And it'll take a lot of practice. You'll find it not so easy at first. It'll get easier and easier as you play. And what you'll find is you'll start to free yourself into just how you dance. And it'll feel really good. And you're not thinking in moves, you're just thinking in how you're moving. Later you can add moves again. Right? You can add back to your thread needle or putting play behind your head. But in between those moves, you can settle back into just movement. What do I call this? Right? There's no time to think of what I'm going to call it. I'm just dancing and moving. And then maybe I throw one of those, right? Maybe over my head. But for a while, don't. For a while, just play with the movement. Think about how the body, think of how you're doing this. Right? You're doing this. You're doing this. Right? The poi are spinning, but you're thinking more about how you're moving than what the poi are doing. And just give each mode some love. And so split time opposites. Right? Play with, I'm on this track, I'm in this track, I'm moving between the tracks, I'm low, I'm high, I'm turning, they're both behind me, they're both in front of me. And I'm just boogieing. Split time, same time, same direction. Same thing. I can explore space. One high and one low. They're both behind me. They're both behind me still. They're both on this track. They're moving from side to side. They're up and down. And I'm playing all over the place. And I'm trying not to think of any move. So if you do that, it's really going to change how you dance, because you'll slip in and out of thinking about whether you're doing moves or how you're dancing. And honestly, I think it's more fun when you're thinking about how you're moving and how you're dancing And then later you start letting all the moves slip back in again. And then the whole thing becomes a mixture of movement and moves. And out of this, I mean, it's out of this that all your flowers will come from, right? All your wall plane flowers will come out of that. All kinds of moves, what people call moves, will come out of this kind of exploration. But if you're getting there through exploring your movement, rather than move 1, move 2, move 3, you'll look more natural, and I think you'll have more fun. And it'll all be a bit more fluid, a bit more dancey. And so I really recommend it. It's a big part of, I spent a lot of time doing this and I had a blast. So you can use tracks in your imagination, or you can go find tracks in real life, or you can use the lines on tennis courts, or anything else to give you a bit of a visual reference. Can be really helpful in the beginning. Later you can let go of it. You can think of circular tracks, tracks that bend, octagons, all kinds of other shapes. But in the beginning, a great way to start is just with 2 tracks. Train noises. That one?